VTOL Blaze.
Hey there, this is Tio bringing another Kerbal Space Program video, another entry in my Laythe Legacies Series. And in this video, I'm technically going to be showing off two VTOLs, although one of them is the main purpose of the vehicle, my little VTOL Rover. So this first vehicle you see deorbiting around Laythe is it was meant to be a large electric cargo type VTOL. So it's got a few glaring design issues in hindsight, but yeah, I've got a couple rovers around the island that I wanted to be able to move around, and I just want the flexibility to move cargo from one point on the island to another, or maybe even from one island to another. And because there's not a lot of good cargo movement management options, like as far as parts, I needed to design something that could do the job. And yeah, I like the flexibility of electric parts like motors and rover wheels and things like that, because so long as you're in daylight or you've got enough nuclear those little radioisotope thermoelectric generators, whatever they're called, you can in theory fly and drive around forever. So yeah, so this is the maiden test flight on Laythe, and I'm already not liking the flight characteristics. So it's got two pairs of there's my crash. I'll talk about it some more. Two sets of rotors, and they're contra-rotating rotors. So each the top rotor and the bottom rotors rotate in opposite directions, and that's so that the torque produced by them cancels each other out. So, and I've got two sets of them just because it's I wanted the lifting. I wanted the cargo area to be in the center of the craft, so I went with two sets. But anyway, I think the main issue obviously is the power consumption. So these motors, I had to size them so that this vehicle could actually carry some cargo. So there's four of them, and they're pretty beefy. So yeah, they just use a lot of electricity, and Laythe is pretty far from Kerbal, so the solar panels, they're not capturing enough power as these batteries. As these motors can consume. So that's the first glaring issue. The second is the wings, the lifting surfaces. So I included some small liquid fuel engines to provide thrust, and they're not quite enough, and they're definitely not enough to recharge the batteries in flight. So I need to just go with a fully liquid fuel or rocket style design, or fully electric, but Laythe is not very friendly with electronics. So now you see on screen the purpose of the video. This is a really, really small electric VTOL. So I really liked my landing module, I guess you would call it, with the fins and the parachutes. And it had some retro thrusters that allowed this vehicle to kind of pinpoint its landing, but it's not that important because I've got the ability to fly. So it's a rover. I can drive around the base when I get to the base, but it's also got the ability to fly, so I can go from base to base more quickly without having to use physics time warp. So driving around on the surface, sometimes I like to stay around 20 meters per second, but up in the air, I'm only limited to the max velocity of the vehicle, so that it seems to be around 40 meters per second, and that's actually low enough that this solar panel can deploy and not get damaged by the airflow. So the panel is going to help extend my range a hair, and as you can see up on the screen, the battery is kind of slowly dying. So this is a fairly efficient design. I'm currently at 30 kilometers away from the target, and I didn't keep track of where I started from, but here I'll have to park up on the top of the hill. So I like to park before my battery runs out. Obviously, you don't want to wait until the last second. So you get to about 10% and you need to be descending. So let's time warp, fill my battery, and now we can kind of properly determine the range of this thing. 26 kilometers with a full charge in daylight, but the solar panel is retracted. I think I'm going to maybe extend it. Let's see. But as you can see, I'm using tried and true contra-rotating motors. So the the torque of the top and the bottom cancel each other out, and this thing doesn't try to turn left or right as I fly. It's going to stay nice and straight. And kind of just flying around, making the flight a little more interesting. Let's go down and check out the coast. I'm curious what the coast actually looks like. I haven't really explored. There's a lot of really steep hills and surfaces around Laythe. I was hoping to find a nice flat beach, and I thought, well, while I'm flying, let me do a little quick detour and see if there's any flat beaches around the lake here on the island. And go ahead and head up to the base now and park this little guy. I can use it to bring scientists around if I need to run experiments or want to transfer a crew member. And obviously it's got the capability to fly itself because it's got a probe core. So really happy with this design. It flies really well. It handles really well. See if I can land. And that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the design. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe. We've got a bunch of videos already in the pipeline, pretty much already ready to upload. So I'm enjoying KSP 1 now. That KSP 2 is not functioning for me, but appreciate you guys. Thanks.